Hello YouTube, it's Down here, and today we're gonna be talking about the weirdest, most horrifying, and definitely most unexpected cinematic universe to have ever emerged from the darkest recesses of the human mind. I bet many of you have fond memories from your childhood that are connected to fairy tales, books, and cartoons. Stories featuring heartwarming and wholesome characters like Winnie the Pooh, Peter Pan, the Sleeping Beauty, Pinocchio, and Snow White. Characters you've grown to love and cherish because they kept you company and made you smile. Well, too bad, because this guy over here, just like a pigeon, is about to shit on everything you love. Now, if you're even remotely interested in horror films, chances are you're familiar with a little-known movie called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. But in case you're not, let me get you up to speed. Back in May of 2022, the trailer for a slasher movie called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was revealed, and became a viral sensation almost overnight because it depicted the titular beloved children's character hacking and slashing his way through a group of university students. But how can that be, I hear you asking? Isn't Winnie the Pooh a copyrighted character? How can someone be using him to create such vile stories? Well, this is where things get interesting. You see, Winnie the Pooh entered the public domain in January of 2022 due to a significant number of years having passed since his initial creation, which means that as of that moment, anyone can do anything they want with the character. Enter this guy, frake-waterfield, who jumped on the opportunity to create a horror movie featuring the lovable Winnie and divided public opinion, with half of the people thinking that this was a horrible thing to do since the film was tainting something that was once considered pure, going so far as to send death threats to the production crew, and the other half, myself included, being incredibly excited to see what sort of sick and twisted things this movie had in store for us. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey became such a viral sensation that it turned from a one-night nationwide event to a worldwide theatrical release, which essentially meant that what was expected to be a fairly small independent film was blown completely out of proportion and was now treated as a big feature-length movie. Blood and Honey ended up getting really bad reviews, and I do have to admit they were justified. The film was bad, like super duper bad. But it ended up garnering $7.7 million against a budget of $100,000, making it a smashing financial success. Now this story could have ended there. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey could have been a one-time thing, an outlier that rode the wave of popularity, made a shitload of money, and then rode off into the sunset with our hard-earned cash. But this is Rhys Frake-Waterfield we're talking about, the man, the myth, the legend. And he wasn't satisfied with screwing up just one beloved character, no. He wanted more. Immediately after the success of the first film, Waterfield announced a sequel, obviously, and promised to do a better job at it since there were many complaints about the first one being, well, crappy and too ambitious for its budget. But budget wouldn't be a problem for the second movie, creatively titled Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, since the film ended up getting 5 times the funding of the original. Around February of 2024, the trailer for the second film dropped, and boy oh boy, it definitely looked much better than the first one. I mean, you could clearly see they had upped their game with the sequel, and fortunately that was indeed the case with the actual film as well. Blood and Honey 2 ended up being a tremendous improvement over the first film, which, let's be honest, wasn't such a huge feat to begin with, by delivering a much better story, better acting, more impressive creature costumes, and oh my god, a shitload of incredible kills. But if you thought things would end with the second film, think again. Remember, this is Waterfield we're talking about, a man with a dream, a genius with a purpose. You see, the sequel not only did a better job than the original in giving us a more impressive narrative and some awesomely bloody mayhem, but also proceeded to set up the most ambitious cinematic universe of all time by giving us hints for future movies. Even as back as November of 2022, Waterfield, as a true visionary, had already said that, aside from Blood and Honey 2, he was also working on 2 more films, one called Bambi the Reckoning, which will be a story about the zombified Bambi seeking revenge for his mother's death, and the other titled Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, which will follow Wendy Darling as she tries to find her brother, who has been abducted by a psychotic Peter Pan and his sidekick Tinkerbell. Not only did he announce those films, but he also mentioned that these stories would be transpiring within a shared world which he titled the Twisted Childhood Universe. Damn, that's an awesome name. As you probably have already guessed, both the Bambi and Peter Pan stories are in the public domain by now, meaning anyone can sink their filthy claws into them and do with them as they wish. But does it end there? I think you know the answer by now. Throughout 2024, Waterfield proceeded to announce spin Pinocchio Unstrung, Puniverse Monsters Assemble, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 3, Awakening Sleeping Beauty, and Snow White Returns, making it clear that no fictional beloved character is safe from his disturbed imagination. And thus the Twisted Childhood universe is slowly taking form, a gangly, lanky, grotesque form, but a form nonetheless. Now, do I wanna watch a zombified Bambi hunting down people and overturning cars? Hell yeah! Do I wanna witness a demonic Pinocchio wreaking havoc among unsuspecting citizens? Duh! Do I wanna see a drug-addicted Tinkerbell terrify children? I'm not so sure about that one. But will I see it? Of course I will. All jokes aside, I think it's awesome that Waterfield is creating these movies and that these characters are now available for people to try new things with them. Especially when it comes to fairy tales and children's stories, I've always been a huge fan of twisted retellings of them. With a great example of an awesome horror series based on classic fairy tales being Grim Fairy Tales, a comic book series from Zenescope Entertainment, for which I'll probably make a video at some point. Whether the actual movies or comics or other new creations are good or not is beside the point. The important thing is the option we now have to make something original by using something well known, which can result in a completely new way to look at these characters. I completely understand if you're among the people that absolutely hate seeing your beloved childhood heroes being twisted into these unrecognizable abominations, but remember, the original magnificent stories that made us love them in the first place will always be there for us to adore. There's nothing these new creators can do to take that away from us, and in all honesty, you can simply ignore their efforts and move on. I, for one, cannot wait to see what the Twisted Childhood universe has in store, especially after watching Blood and Honey 2, which showed that Waterfield is getting much better when it comes to storytelling and production quality. It was by no means a great film, but it was a step in the right direction and showed that he's actually taking this seriously, which bodes extremely well for the rest of the films. So that was it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the Twisted Childhood universe that is slowly emerging from the void to haunt your dreams and mangle your nostalgic memories. I am curious about your own opinion on this thing, so by all means let me know in the comments below what you think about this new universe, and remember to stay spooky!